Maxwell returned home, his face dark with anger and confusion. He opened the door slowly and walked in without saying a word. Joy, his wife, came out from the kitchen smiling. She had been waiting all morning to hear how the interview went. "Welcome. How did it go?" she asked gently, wiping her hands on a towel. But Maxwell didn't say a word. He didn't even look at her. Joy's smile faded. She walked closer and touched his arm. "Talk to me. What happened?" Still, he said nothing. He moved past her like she wasn't even there and walked slowly to the bedroom. His steps heavy and tired. He looked lost, like his mind was far away. Joy stood in the living room, confused and worried. Her heart started to beat faster. She sat down on the edge of the sofa, staring at the door he had just walked in. What could have gone wrong? She whispered to herself. Maxwell sat quietly on his bed. His hands were clasped together. His eyes staring at the floor. The room was silent except for the faint tickling of the wall clock. A few minutes later, Joy walked in and gently sat beside him. "What is it, my love?" she asked softly. "Were you not given the job? Is the salary too low?" "I want to be left alone," Maxwell interrupted, without looking at her. Joy placed her hand on his shoulder. "Please, my love, talk to me," she pleaded. "I have been waiting for you to return. And now you are here, but still far from me. Please talk to me. Get out before I unleash my anger on you," he shouted suddenly, his voice sharp and filled with frustration. Joy quickly stood up. Her eyes is full of tears. Without saying another word, she turned around and quietly walked out of the room, gently closing the door behind her. Joy returned to the sitting room and sat on the couch. She began to cry. She felt completely alone and forgotten. Her heart was heavy. All she ever wanted was to be there for Maxwell. But now it felt like he didn't want her anymore. Meanwhile, Maxwell lay down on the bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind was full of thoughts. What should I do next? He asked himself. Should I accept the job? He thought. But if I accept this job, I will have to divorce my wife and marry that fat woman. What should I do now? I don't want to lose this life opportunity. Too much money is involved. Becoming the CEO of that company would be one of the biggest things that could ever happen in my life. He turned to his side, still thinking deeply. But what about my wife? He whispered. I still love her. He let out a deep sigh. I think I should seek advice from Michael, my friend. Maxwell stood up from the bed, slowly and without saying a word. He removed his suit and changed into a simple outfit. His mind was still heavy, full of thoughts. He walked out of the room and passed by his wife, Joy, who was still sitting on the couch in the sitting room, crying. He didn't say anything to her. He didn't even look her way. As he walked past, Joy looked up, hoping he would at least say something. But he kept walking. That silence broke her completely. She burst into tears again, crying uncontrollably. Her voice shook as she said, "What did I do to deserve this kind of ill treatment?" Her heart ached. She felt pain deeper than words could explain. Maxwell arrived at Michael's office. Michael looked up from his work and smiled when he saw his friend. "Oh, Maxwell, you are here. Please have a seat," Michael said, pointing to the chair in front of his desk. Maxwell sat down slowly. "How did the interview go?" Michael asked with interest. Maxwell sighed, then looked up. "My dear, I am the one selected to become the new CEO of the company," he said. Michael's eyes lighted up. He stood up and reached out his hand. "Whoa, congratulations, my friend," he said, shaking Michael's hand firmly. "That is a big deal." But Maxwell didn't smile. He looked down at the floor. "There is a problem," he said. "In fact, right now I am confused. I don't know what to do." Michael's face changed. He became serious and knelt forward. "What is it?" he asked, looking straight at Maxwell. Maxwell cleared his throat and continued. The owner of the company, she is a lady, and she insists I must marry her before the job fully becomes mine. Michael stared at him for a second, then suddenly burst into loud laughter. Maxwell looked confused. Why are you laughing like that? He asked. Michael wiped his face and said, Then what are you waiting for? Do what she asks you to do. See, nothing good comes easy, my brother. Maxwell sighed deeply. And what happens to my wife? Michael didn't hesitate. Settle her. Give her some money and let her go her way. You don't even have any children with her yet. So it will be easier for her to understand. If she was in your shoes, she would do the same. Maxwell shook his head slowly, still unsure. But Michael leaned forward and said seriously, Women love money more than anything on this earth. Please, Maxwell, don't miss this biggest opportunity of your life. Maxwell sat quietly for a moment thinking. Then he loaded slowly. I think you are making sense, he said. Maxwell returned home that evening, his mind heavy with thoughts. He sat quietly in the living room staring into space. After a short while, he called out Joy. Joy quickly walked in, a bright smile on her face, eager to hear what her husband had to say. Yes, my dear, she said, sitting beside him. Maxwell looked up at her, his face serious. Joy, my dear, he began slowly. I don't know how to say this, but I have to. Please, name your price. Ask for anything you want, and I will give it to you. Joy's smile disappeared. She looked at him closely. Her eyes is sharp and serious. I don't understand. What do you mean? Maxwell continued. See, Joy, you are a good woman. Any man would be lucky to have you. But for me, I have dreams. I have things I want to achieve. And to be honest, I need to do them with someone else, not you. Joy's expression changed. Her voice rose. Please, Maxwell, go straight to the point, she said angrily. I want a divorce, Maxwell said plainly. We can't continue like this. I am really sorry to say this, but I can't let this opportunity slip away just because of you. Joy's mouth fell open in shock. Maxwell continued. Before I become the new CEO of the company, I have to marry the owner. That is her condition. And to be honest, I can't miss this chance. Please try to understand my side of the story. Joy angrily stood up. Her eyes is filled with tears. They rolled down her cheeks as she looked at Maxwell with pain in her heart. So this is it, she said, her voice shaking. This is how you want to pay me back after everything. Oh, Maxwell, I loved you, not because of your money or your job, but because of who you are. But now you have chosen this path. She wiped her tears and added firmly, if it's a divorce you want, then fine, I am ready to sign the papers. Maxwell nodded emotionlessly. Thank you for understanding me. I will call my lawyers. The papers will be ready first thing tomorrow morning. Without another word, he walked away, leaving Joy standing there heartbroken. She slowly sat on the floor and broke down in tears. Her crying was deep and painful, the kind that comes from the soul. She cried uncontrollably until there were no more tears left in her eyes, just silence and pain. Meanwhile, Maxwell was in the bedroom, his phone to his ear, calling his lawyer to come with the divorce papers first thing tomorrow morning. The next morning, the lawyer came with the divorce papers. They both sat in the living room. A few minutes later, Joy walked in slowly. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying all night. The lawyer opened the envelope and brought out the divorce papers. Without saying a word, Joy picked up the pen. With shaking hands, tears rolling down her cheeks as she safely signed the papers. After signing, she stood up quietly, went into the bedroom, and began packing her bags. Maxwell didn't say a word. He just watched her, cold and silent, with her suitcase in one hand and her handbag in the other. Joy walked out of the house. Later that day, Joy arrived at her friend Amira's house. As soon as Amira opened the door and saw her, she knew something was wrong. "Joy!" Amira shouted, pulling her into a warm hug. What happened? Joy couldn't hold it anymore. She broke down in tears right there at the door. Between sobs, she told Amira everything about the job, the woman, and the divorce. Amira led her inside and sat her down gently. She held her hands and looked into her eyes. "Joy, I know this hurts. I know it feels like the end. But trust me, it's not. All hope is not lost," Amira continued. "Sometimes, God allows people to leave so that better ones can come in. Don't let this break you. You are strong, and your story is not over yet." Joyce lived and loaded slowly. Amira wiped her tears and smiled softly. "Better days are coming, my friend. Just hold on." Later that evening, Maxwell went out to celebrate with his friend Michael. They sat at a fancy bar, drinking and laughing loudly. "To freedom," Michael shouted, raising his glass. "To a new life," Maxwell replied, clicking glasses with him. They both laughed, thinking they had made the best decision ever. The next day, Maxwell returned to the company. He walked straight into Miran's office with a confident smile on his face. "I have accepted your proposal," he said. Miran stood up from her chair, smiling proudly. "Good decision," she said. Without wasting time, preparations began. Within a short while, Maxwell and Miran got married in a small private wedding. Everything happened so fast. After the wedding, Miran officially handed over the position of CEO to Maxwell. His dream had finally come true. To Maxwell, this was it. He thought all his problems were over. He believed he had finally arrived at the top. But what he didn't know was that he had just entered a new chapter of his life, one that would test him in ways he never imagined. Maxwell now lived with Miran, his new wife. He expected to be treated like a king. But no, he was very disappointed. Miran was always ordering him around, telling him to do this or do that. In fact, she treated him like a houseboy. In the morning, she would tell him to cook her food before she left for the office. Sometimes, she even made him wash her clothes, including her undies, while she sat like a queen enjoying herself. Maxwell couldn't believe it. This was not the life he imagined when he got married. As time went on, things got even worse for Maxwell. Even at work, he had no freedom. He wasn't allowed to do anything with the company's money without Miran's approval. Every little expenses had to be approved by her first. To make matters worse, CCTV cameras were installed all over his office. Every move he made was being watched. One day he had enough. He went home angry and confronted Miran. "Miran," he said, "why are you doing all this? You don't need to monitor me like this. I am your husband, for God's sake. You should trust me." Miran looked at him and smiled calm, cold and confident. "Husband?" She laughed. "You, the one that wants to reap where you did not sow. I know why you are here, Maxwell. It's because of my money, nothing else. If you truly wanted love, why didn't you stay with your poor ex-wife?" She stood up slowly, still smiling. "But no, you chose money over her. You thought marrying me would make your life easier. But I see through you, my dear," she added coldly. "I can never trust you." Still smiling, she walked out of the sitting room, leaving Maxwell standing there like a statue, shocked and speechless. He sat slowly into the chair, his head spinning. Was this really this life now? He had left everything behind. His ex-wife, his simple life for this. He thought he had won when he married Miran, but now he was nothing but a prisoner in a golden cage. His movements were watched. His words were monitored. His decisions were controlled. Deep down, a heavy regret started to grow in Maxwell's heart. Maybe, just maybe, he had made the biggest mistake of his life. Maxwell sat alone in the sitting room thinking deeply. For the first time in a long while, he began to regret all his actions. His mind went back to Joy, his ex-wife. He remembered how she used to treat him with love and respect, like a king in their little home. Joy was there for him when he lost his job. She didn't complain. She didn't insult him. Instead, she worked hard and took care of both of them. She stood by him when he had nothing. Now, tears started falling from Maxwell's eyes. What have I done? He whispered to himself. I left a woman who truly loved me for this. He covered his face with his hands, full of shame and regret. Maybe I should go and beg her, he said quietly. Maybe, just maybe, she can forgive me and accept me back again. Maxwell knew he had made a terrible mistake, and now he wasn't sure if it was too late to fix it. Maxwell stood up slowly, wiped his tears, and decided to talk to someone. He went straight to his friend Michael's office. When he got there, Michael welcomed him and asked what was wrong. Maxwell didn't waste time. He opened up and told him everything. Michael, he said, I am tired. I can't take it anymore. Miran is treating me like a slave. She doesn't trust me. Cameras are watching me in the office. I can't even touch the company's money without her permission. I feel like I am in prison. I want to go back to Joy, my ex-wife. She loved and respected me. She stood by me when I had nothing. I left her for money. And now I see I made a big mistake. Michael looked at him quietly for a moment, then spoke. Maxwell, I understand how you feel, but don't be in a hurry. Marriage is not always easy in the beginning. You just need to exercise patience. Miran might not trust you now, but with time, she may start to respect and understand you. But Maxwell shook his head. Michael, I am not seeing any sign of change in her. She talks down on me and doesn't treat me like a husband. Still, Michael tried to calm him down. Just give it some time. Don't rush. Stay strong and be patient. You have already made the choice to be with her. At least try and make it work. After a long talk, Maxwell finally agreed. He nodded slowly and said, Okay, I will try to be patient a little longer. But deep inside, her heart still felt heavy. Maxwell decided to listen to Michael's advice. He went back home and tried to exercise more patience with Miran. He gave it time, hoping things would change. He tried to love her more, respect her, and avoid anything that would cause trouble. But sadly, nothing changed. In fact, things became even worse. At the office, Miran would talk to him anyhow, even in front of other employees. She didn't care who was watching. She would insult him openly and embarrass him at every little mistake. At home, it was no different. Maxwell had become a total houseboy. Every morning before going out, he would cook, clean the house and wash clothes, even Miran's underwear. Yet, she never appreciated anything he did. Instead, she would spit on him and call him names. Lazy thing, good for nothing man. She would shout, pointing her fingers at him with disgust. Maxwell felt broken inside. The more he tried to be patient, the more she humiliated him. He began to feel like a stranger in his own home, a slave in the house of the woman he once thought would treat him like a king. Maxwell couldn't take it anymore. The pain, the insults, the way Miran treated him, it was just too much. So he ran. He ran as fast as he could, straight to Joy's boutique, the only place he could think of to find her. The boutique was very far, but Maxwell didn't care. He didn't stop to rest. His heart was beating fast, not just for the running, but from hope. Maybe Joy will still take me back, he thought. Maybe I still have a chance. When he finally got to the boutique, he pushed the door open and rushed inside. But as he looked around, his heart sank. The face he was seeing behind the counter didn't look like Joy. It was another woman. He stepped closer and asked quickly, "Please, where is Joy? I am looking for her." The woman looked at him with surprise. "Oh, Joy," she said. "She got married 2 weeks ago." Maxwell froze. "Married?" he whispered. "Yes," the woman nodded with a smile. "She moved to London with her new husband right after the wedding." Maxwell stood there speechless. His legs felt weak. Joy was gone, gone forever. And now the only woman who truly loved him had started a new life without him. Maxwell slowly walked out of the boutique. His legs were heavy and his heart was broken. He sat down by the roadside and began to cry. "Oh no," he wept. "I have lost the only woman God gave me, all because of greed. I followed advice without advising myself first." Tears rolled down his cheeks as he shook his head in regret. "Oh no, I can't go back to that house anymore. That woman, Miran, she will kill me one day. I would rather stay on the streets than return to that kind of life." With no place to go, Maxwell stood up and began to walk. After some time, he got to a building site where men were working. Without thinking twice, he joined them. He picked up blocks and started carrying them, joining the laborers under the hot sun. It wasn't easy, but at least no one was shouting at him. No cameras, no insults, no pain. It was hard work, but for the first time in a long time, Maxwell felt a little peace.